Today we will learn how to do the simple 3D acrylic art. So I have the prep tips, and now I will apply blue powder together with the monomer to create the background for my design. So I stretch the color from the top to the bottom, creating the curve like this is the cuticle area. And now I want to get the nice color on the area of the free edge also, so I take another bead, place it right on the free edge, turn my brush upside down and stretch it towards the cuticle now. When you're working on the nails like this, make sure that your background is really thin, because we don't want to create thick nails, and that the surface is really even, as if we will have some bumps on the top, we will have problems when doing the design. So we need the really flat, smooth surface. And also, to continue working on the design, I need to wait until the surface will be cured. You can understand that by looking at the tip. So while it's still shiny, that means we still have monomer on the top. But once it will be mattified, that means we can start working. So I will use brush number 4, triangle shape, to create the petals. So first we will practice with the easy rounded petals of the flower. This is, I think, the easiest way of creating the 3D acrylic design. And also I'm gonna use the white powder. I'm using the brightest white that I have. I also use it for the pink and white sculpting. So seems like the tip is ready. It's already mattified. You can also put the clear on top, but if you do that, be careful, do not put extra thickness on it. So I'm taking the small bead, place it right in the corner, stretch the center to create something of the shape like drop, and then pressing from the center, I create the petal. So I press from the center to the sides and also to the bottom. So the idea here is to create the really, really thin petal, that it will actually look like a flat design. So then we will take the same size of the white bead, place it close to the first one, stretch it to the center. So the main rule here is that the tip of your brush needs to look always in the center of the flower. Once you break this rule, your flower will not look like a flower anymore. So I'm pressing it towards the sides to create the rounded shape of the petal. So the area in the center, as you can see, is really flat, that we can even see the background, and only this part has a little thickness on it. Another bead, make sure that the sizes of your beads do not differ too much from each other. So now I take my tip like this, and when you will work with your client, you will do the same, but you know, we can't really move our client's hands as much as we want to. So always imagine like you're holding somebody's hand, and keep in mind that there's always a limit how much you can turn it around. And then I continue stretching and pushing it in all of the directions. Another medium-sized bead. If you see that that your bead is too large for this flower, you can simply cut some part off on the napkin that you're using. Or if you see that the bead is too small, you can simply take it off and work with another one. So once again, from the center to the sides, I'm pressing the flower, cleaning. Do not worry if the petals will differ a little bit from each other, because in real life you cannot find a flower which has like perfectly symmetrical, even rounded shape. And the last bead right here, stretch it to the center. Wait until this drop will be mattified. Do not push it right away. We need to wait. And once it starts to get cured, I push it to the sides, on top of the previous petals a little bit, and to another side. So it seems like we have too much product here, so I am trying to stretch it like this, so this part will not be too thick. And then I continue doing the design with adding some extra smaller size petals here. So I put the bead, stretch it. You can also do 2 beads at the same time if you already feel and understand how to do this. So I put it, stretch it to the center, and then I get back to the first one and push it first. No matter how you're working, the tip of the brush always looks in the center of your current flower that you are creating. Do not forget this rule. And this works for any kind of flowers, roses, flat petals, all of them. Okay, then I take another bead and create smaller size flower on the top. I'm always cleaning my brush with a napkin because it has to stay dry. If it will be too wet with the monomer, that means that the product can stick to your brush, and obviously it will kill it after a while. So by cleaning the brush from time to time on the napkin, we prevent it from the product to cure inside the hair of the brush. So another bead, I press it and create another rounded petal. So when doing this design, do not forget that the background and the color you chose for the flowers, they need to have contrast. So if I will work on the yellow background with the white flowers, we will not see much. So the lighter color you choose for the flowers, the darker background we need. And the last bead, I stretch it towards center and press it. So this is what we get. And now let's add some centers of the flowers. I'm using the neon yellow, but regular yellow will also work here. So by adding the center, we finish our composition, and at the end these flowers look like actual flowers. They do not look like some separated petals flying somewhere. And then to create the center and make it look better, I'm gonna use this smaller brush, which is number 1. I just put it on the center and make this rounded movement, like creating a hole inside. You can also use the brush number 4 to create the centers, but with the smaller brush it's a lot easier. And also do not forget to press it a little bit because we don't want some extra thickness on this design. So this is what we have at the end. As you can see, the thickness is minimal, like we have, I don't know, 0.2 millimeters. So this design will work really good even without putting the gel top on the top of the design.